want their property back. So we're, again, added, now we're behind the 50-year 8-ball plus another year or two because we need to build and build back. And to be able to do all that and find all these things. We have, Brian, help me out with the programs. I think something like 7 or 8 programs.
I think 6.
6 programs.
6, 7.
And
No, we have 8.
7.
yeah. I can't, I think we had to lose one, but we are desperately in need of more programs, more space, and in order to get that, it's going to be when the light switch finally gets turned as a piece of land, it's going to be quick. And we're all smart to put money away, and I kind of agree with Gene. Yes, Gene, write that down in your book that we need to put something extra in there. I think we need to think about that so that we can help out a little bit because it's not going to be cheap. And the more programs we get, the better we are. We don't have a plumbing trade over there. Excuse me?
HVAC.
We don't have an HVAC. I don't have electrical programming. And everybody has to, you know what, and everybody has to turn the light switch on. So we don't have those. We're using other areas. So we've got great leadership over there that has identified where we need to go as far as programs to be beneficial to the students. And I know from people in the constituents in the audience that our medical program there is fabulous. The law enforcement portion is very helpful. We've identified the right places to go. Now we just need to get the money. And I think by us being 3 steps ahead already, and even with $180,000 a year, it goes a long way. And I know people say pull some money out. All right, so we are one extra payment ahead. It's nice, but
The problem is we have to build for the mortgage payment comes, and we have to prepare for that. But we also have to take care of what we already have. And it's tough to do both, for sure. But the HVAC units, you know, they need renewed. We have 1990 windows that are in the part of the building that's going to have new HVAC in. We're going to be heating and cooling, you know, the outside because it's just going to go right out the window. So there are certain things that, you know, we absolutely have to do here. And we have to prepare for what's coming. Yes, you're right. We don't quite know what that's going to look like yet. But there are going to be decisions coming in the next months that the future will become much clearer than what it is now. It's got to be patient, but I don't disagree with you. You know, I wish we could, you know, put more money. But again, in the long run, I think it's we set ourselves up good for the mortgage that's coming. But I think we need to take care of the things that we have here that, you know, we need to take care of, and this gives us the opportunity to do that. Because in the future, we're going to have to do it anyway, and it's going to cost us more money in the future to fix the windows, to fix the HVAC anyway. I think it's every year it's the next year like $500,000 doing that. So it's quite a bit of money that we'll have to pay in the future. And I think if we do it now, we'll save money, even though it hurts a little bit. Right. But it's going to hurt a lot more in the future.
Have you and Carl and Gene, because you guys own the previous board, we're looking at Maple Avenue. What are we going to do that? Is there a way that we could possibly even turn that into some kind of center?
It's not large enough.
Not large
just
enough.
For us, just for our students.
Boy.
It wouldn't, if I remember correctly, it would cost us almost $2.5 million just to bring that up to standard. I think is what the reason that we didn't go with that.
Have we looked into other thoughts, just even for our district? I mean, that might be cheaper than us having a mortgage payment over all these years with acting. Are we limiting ourselves from having other resources?
So you're saying just take ourselves out of ACTI?
And do our own thing, kind of
we can't sign an agreement.
There's no way.
Okay.
Well, that, and we couldn't
That was
afford some of the
signed by
programs that we're eventually going to have.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could just say that, okay, so I'm not sure the exact figures. You guys can help me out, Tom, whoever. You know, this high school project. You know, there was a feeling that, you know, through concept, through the tax increases, it was supposed to be around 31, 35, whatever, and now it's at 51, 56, whatever. You know, so it grew because unforeseen things in the reality of the dollar today
Right.
and so there has to be, hopefully, when we're thinking this thing through, that the energy is made. It's a lot easier to take a piece of paper and erase with an eraser than it is once you've got something up and moving walls and brick and mortar. So somehow we need to plan this thing so that it'll fly, and you know it'll break the gravity of debt, and be able to get out to where what we need it to do. It's a hard thing to be able to foresee and forecast the future, especially when you're bound by looking at the last 3 years of your past to project your 1 year of your future. And I mean, it's like you're building a whole complete different campus. You're building a whole school, right? I mean, it's something that I mean, we're talking about our future of our kids, and do we want them to hopefully reinvest into our district and do all the trades that they're supposed to do and all that kind of stuff? I mean, I see the vision for it, I really do.
But as a
But
board
I-
member, you're supposed to ask these questions of that.
Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Because you do have taxpayers that are asking these questions.
I want to comment on what Mr. Yeager said. It took us, what, 2 years from the concept of the renovation and the build to the final plan. When we first started, we talked about putting a full gymnasium where the activities room is now. But because of, over that 2 years of the prices going up on everything, the gymnasium was nixed. We couldn't get another full gymnasium like I think we need. So it was cut back to the activities room. And that's just over a 2-year period. From the very start, we had a full gymnasium on there, and that would have been within our budget. But at the end of that 2-year process, we had to vote for the activities room because prices just skyrocketed over that period of time, and we couldn't afford it. And I think, that's something, as Mr. Yeager, I'm glad you brought that up, that's part of this too. And that's part of fixing what I think we need to fix now, because the windows are gonna cost more in another year or two. The HVAC units are gonna skyrocket.
It's 3% a year,
Yeah.
the calculation was.
Yeah, it's gonna skyrocket for HVAC units, especially if they're made overseas. It's gonna skyrocket in the next couple of years. So I think we should, I'm sorry.
All right, part of what started this discussion was that we were having excess. Tom, can you elaborate without going into too detail, because you don't have full details, I know that for a fact, how we became extra?
So the short version is we got more revenues than expected and less expenditures. But no, so we received on the revenue side. Revenue side, we received, obviously we got more of the state because we always flat fund the state from required. So we got money from the state.
Because
The state approved more for basic education. We received more from local taxpayers, basically through the tax increase, plus also EIT tax and other local taxes throughout our community, so we have some of that. We have some grants that offset expenditures that we had from internally, so we still had ESSER funding that we were still running out, so we were supplanting our current expenditures with that, so that offsets some cash from that. We see some PCCD grants and other grants that we had that offset a couple $100,000 here, a couple $100,000 there. On the flip side, we also had expenditures. So expenditures between staffing and supplies and equipment, we just saw some decreases overall. So just staffing attritions as people retire and people come in, there is a significant savings between that, and we have seen some rise in retirements over the past couple of years. So that's just the reality we're in. That is something we can't anticipate in June to know next June what that's going to happen. You guys, as a board, have to approve it.
So basically what you're telling me is in the short term, the average homeowner can understand to work 40 hours a week. We make our budget based on a 40-hour work week, not on the possible overtime that we may get.
We go based off of where we think we're at the June prior to.
But I'm saying, because we don't know that we're gonna get this thing.
Correct.
They're not engraved in stone like the 40-hour week paycheck. It's overtime because something may happen.
Do you know how much the state increase was?
Not without having it, not without looking at it.
Because that would be, in my mind, in terms of what I think about this whole thing, that would be the thing to know, if it's, if the state is giving, because we can't budget for any more than what we know for a fact the state's gonna give us, that expenditures time coming in. But if a consistent surplus, and it sounds like that's been the theme over the last several years, if a consistent surplus is happening, and it's not necessarily due to way overestimating the expenses, or way underestimating the revenues, but way overdoing the expense estimation, then that's where I think that if we, as you're newer, Tim's newer, we're newer, kind of audit what the past budget practices have been, to see if we can make room within what we're budgeting for expenses, for other things like DCTI debt service. But I think that this year, what we have in front of us in terms of the 3.2, our current facilities projects are here and now expense. We don't know what ACTI, we don't know what that building is going to cost, what the land's going to cost, what any of that's going to be. I think that we have a responsibility to do that now. But with trying to look at, is there a way that we can figure out if we're overestimating our expenses every year to possibly make room so that that surplus money is accounted for on the front end. So.
Is there any more questions on that?
No, but I think I
Okay.
know what, I think I know where to get some money to put in though. We slim down the athletics improvements. And we don't move the field, and we just give the softball few tiny improvements, and we put the backstop up at the baseball field and the scoreboard, and save the rest of that money. And not do those big changes that you're talking about.
Put that towards ACTI.
I think we can save a lot, because we don't need to change the softball field, we need new windows. We don't need to, do all our work in the baseball field, we need new HVAC units. We can make small improvements with the athletic, fields, and save $100,000, I think.
That's why we thought that.
I agree.
So
I
you
agree
know
with
what we're
Paradise.
doing, and we can move things around, but,
That was part C, so one letter C now. So the recommendation, Tom, how come these numbers don't match these numbers?
They don't have the design and
Okay.
escalation or the
Ah.
50% contingency.
I just got it tonight.
I think it highlights it on the side there, it says.
Yeah, it says add 4%, but
For
that's,
design and 50%.
so are we going to C now?
yeah.
Is that something to click on within the app?
Yeah, that's what it
So
Look.
baseball, we start out and we're in October at 238, we got to 246. So that 46 is the 4% add and design fee. Okay, that's cool. I mean,
Is that the football stadium scoreboard?
yes,
And which hole is the one you have there?
you don't go to football games, do you?
Yeah.
It's always been.
Yeah, first of all, you can't see what anything is. Victor did a heck of a job in trying to illuminate it, and I think even the scroll on the bottom is missing some scrolling aspects.
Is that the one that came over from Memorial Field? They brought it
Yes,
up.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so it's.
See, we try to save money when we,
Yeah, we save
when
money.
we get in the field, we try to save that money too. It's only faster.
Yeah.
And the softball jumped $174,000. That was due to
Reorientation.
reorientation.
So we would save that money if we didn't reorient.
Right, and I think why, yeah,
Include the dugouts and the batting
Yeah.
cages.
right.
Which, do we really need it? Somebody explain this.
Was there, again, I wasn't part of your committee, but I was here. If I recall, was it, maybe not this last one, before me, where possibly thinking in the future about doing something to the track field with maybe turf or something, that's why they were looking at orienting.
Okay,
Or
so
some
that
of
would
the
add,
something on it. I don't know.
I did some quick math, and the quick math would be, if we were to try to put a field that would accommodate football in there without any stands, just the football field would add an additional 160-some feet wide. And that would move the softball a minimum of 160-some feet. So it would come into people's backyard at this point,
Okay,
in addition to.
so it's too much.
And then,
Yeah.
I didn't even go this way.
Alone would be-
Yeah. I don't
I mean,
know.
we paid $5 million for the one we have now, and like, that was, what, 8 years ago? I'm guessing it's probably close to 10 now. I mean, just off the top of my head, after all these years, I don't see how we could ever afford putting a second.
But
So
also,
Tom, what would be the net savings to not do reorientation?
I don't have that with me, but I think you have
the
the
original number was
That was still less design and contingency, but that would be.
176,000. So if you take the 238 plus 176, plus the 46, plus an additional 46, or a little bit less than 40, call it 40, you'd be well within the realm of what we got for the land sale, which would be apple for apple. We sold an asset, we want to increase an asset, and land asset. And that was kind of what the previous board had in mind.
So I think the question would be, does the majority of the board want to scale that back to
Yeah.
approve that additional savings?
Yeah, and
from
that's what we
reorientation?
do again to the softball, to if we can talk about it. I know-
It would just be
Yeah.
standing where it's at, we
Yeah.
would redo the backstop.
Yep,
Yeah.
The dugouts would stay the same, we'd have a scoreboard, and I believe permanent.
permanent
fencing.
fencing, okay. And then for the baseball field, it would
Just
be
the backstop.
just
Fix the backstop and fix, there's a couple other odds and ends
Is
that,
there, okay.
that they want to increase and get
Well,
better.
And they
No.
would get a scoreboard.
They have to just.
Yeah.
Their
Okay.
fencing would be improved, and the dugouts would be done as well.
Okay.
Victor's highly.
Do we have a cost for that?
Yeah, that was.
That doesn't
That's
change.
what's in here.
Yeah, that's what this one is at the 284. So,
So nothing would change on that, that price is still.
yeah,
that cost.
284, which is included, that's
Okay.
what the design is.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if we
And
were
softball
not doing
unfortunately
something on
doesn't
there.
need as much because their dugouts were,
Well,
are really good.
how much does the dugout cost? You know, I think they're,
well, I think Mike Summers built those.
I don't think they're bad.
Yeah, those are, the softball ones are really
The
good.
soft,
And we just put the batting cage in, so part of the reallocating or relocating that softball meant we would have to pay for stuff that we've already just done.
Yeah.
Which, if we didn't have diminishing students coming in, it might be worth the thinking about, but we have diminishing, population.
Plus, honestly, I
It might
really
be.
think we're gonna recoup the 50 grand. We'll recoup that. I mean, it may take 5 years, but we'll recoup it.
Sure.
When you talk about advertising on school,
That and some other things, yeah.
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 I mean, just to let you know, you folks know, Jeff Loud, when he came to us with that scroller across the top, Bob Hahn, I want my money back. It's gonna cost $15,000, and you've got 1 year to get it back. I think that Jeff Loud repaid that money back, or got the equivalent amount of it back in the general fund, in the city fund. So,
Yeah.
in sponsorship, so sometimes, yeah, it's worth it.
So it sounds like what we're really looking for next month, on this line item is the capital business list, less the softball relocation.
Well, you move it forward to Monday, because we just discussed it. And then we're looking at maybe one.
We can change the attachment to reflect the.
Yeah, that would be good.
If you guys want to vote on it.
Well, because that season's coming up, so I think probably you got to do something.
And that's my other question. It's up in the air as to whether or not we'll be able to hit the baseball and softball. I know we're getting close. I think the sooner we can do that, the better. I'd love to see it get done this, before the next season, but with the stadium scoreboard, that could definitely be done by the next football season. next fall, field hockey, softball, football.
Say, I wouldn't see any reason why we would not. Baseball, softball are a little tighter due to
Just
weather
because it said
and everything.
25, 26, I just want to make sure we're not pushing it off till next week.
I love to see the baseball field just because I like to see our residents not having.
Happy. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else?
Anybody else have anything for Steve?
So in that letter D, I guess, then, from Victor, the design contract, that's just kind of not,
Yeah, that'll still be, we just don't have the tax